This is the Motorola Edge 60 Fusion, the latest mid-ranger from Motorola in the UK.
Hey guys, Alex Base here. Motorola are known to produce good value smartphones that are sold for a pretty good price. However, is this one any good? Is it worth it? Let's find out in this review.
The Edge 60 Fusion is sold for £299 here in the UK, and in India it costs 23,000 rupees. It weighs only 175 grams. It's vegan leather on the back, plastic frame on the sides, and a covered by Gorilla Glass 7i on the front. And as you can see, it's a curved screen, not flat one. It gets decently bright outside and it is legible and usable. However, the curved nature of the screen does work against it outdoors in a sunny day. The screen is 6.67 inch 120Hz AMOLED screen with 1.5K resolution and HDR10 Plus support. It has 1 billion colors and it's very sharp at 446 pixels per inch. Colors are pretty punchy and any content you watch, movies, sports, animation, TV shows or anything else looks good on it and you won't be disappointed. It's a great screen for this mid-range class.
The Edge 60 Fusion does have stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support.
The speakers do get loud, they've got excellent vocals, some deep bass, and they're simply one of the best sounding speakers in this class. Let's hear them out. The Edge 60 Fusion also supports HD audio through compatible earbuds and headphones, which is great.
The Motorola Edge 60 Fusion comes with Hello UI on top of Android 15.
You do get 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security patches, which is pretty much the standard policy in this class. I did get a couple of updates straight away from the box, by the way. The phone does have a lot of bloatware. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pre-installed apps that you don't really need. If you need any, keep them of course, but most of them I had to delete them. Also, the phone does feel laggy and sluggish at times, and it's not from the chipset, because I've tried other phones with the same chipset. This is a software issue. In the ever-growing list of Google apps, however, you get Gemini, which is great at this price point. Apart from the IP69 rating, which is great, you also get NFC and eSIM support, which is great to see in this lower mid-range class. A quick note about the SIM tray, it's got one SIM card there and also one space for a micro SD card. Of course, being an AMOLED screen, it's got a fingerprint scanner, which works okay, nothing spectacular though.
Let's see if it's open. There we go. It's locked. Aya! Alright, there we go. Try this one now. Hey, the camera opens. It's been a while since I've had a Motorola phone and I've forgotten how to use it really.
The Edge 60 Fusion does support Ultra HDR in the Google Photo app. In terms of AI shenanigans, Motorola have their entire AI engine here, and you can switch it on and it takes over the phone. However, the whole experience is so sluggish and very slow. I suggest you turn this thing off. And also Gemini works way better than the equivalent that Motorola has here, and you will see why shortly. On a more positive note here, of course, it's got some functions that can be exploited in certain situations. You can save messages or screenshots or save your audio recordings, even video recordings really. This is like on other phones, it's there if you need it. And of course it can be inaccurate at times when you ask for an image and it actually shows you the wrong one. And now let's compare the Moto equivalent to Gemini, and then we're going to try Gemini and compare them. FIFA Club World Cup.
The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, a 32.
It was painfully slow. Now let's try Gemini.
FIFA Club World Cup.
The FIFA Club World Cup is an international club football competition.
In terms of performance, the Edge 60 Fusion gets the MediaTek Dimensity 7300. However, India and Indonesia are getting the slightly boosted Dimensity 7400.
The results that I got from the Edge 60 Fusion are pretty much in line with other phones with the same chipset, and they are okay overall. Nothing really to complain here. The only thing probably that's criticism here is that it's not as chill as other Dimensity 7300 chipsets. The phone does get a little warm after a little bit of use, which is pretty curious. Otherwise, the stability of it, as you can see, and when you put it under stress, is remarkable. And that's a bit of a paradox.
In terms of battery, the Edge 60 Fusion gets 5200 mAh battery with 68 watt super fast charging.
The global Moto gets 5200 mAh battery, but India gets a bigger 5500 mAh battery. You get some very nice features for this lower mid-range class here. In the battery app, you can see the health of your battery and also how many times you have charged your phone in the cycle count. You also have some charging options, but you should never be afraid of super fast charging. It doesn't damage the battery, that's total BS. So this is the European version, which is pretty much the global model. It does not get a charger, but India and a couple of markets will get a charger bundled in the box. Charging the phone from empty to 100%, in 20 minutes I got 58% charge, which is pretty good, and a full charge took just over 48 minutes, which is pretty impressive. The battery is good capacity and also charges pretty well. So, well, how about the battery life? Well, 1 hour of phone calls took the battery down by 3%, 1 hour of web browsing took the battery down by 6%, and 1 hour of watching videos took down the battery by 4%. Overall, these results are not bad at all. I expect a little bit better, but still for most people's usage, this would be absolutely fine. Now let's move on and finish it off with the cameras. On the back, we've got a dual camera setup with Sony Lithia 700 with optical image stabilization, an ultra-wide 13 megapixel Galaxy Core sensor, and on the front we've got a 32 megapixel Galaxy Core sensor with 4K video as well. The camera app unfortunately is a bit sluggish, just like the experience on the software. The selfies during the day are not bad, there's a good amount of detail and also the colors are good. However, there is some artificial sharpening to fix imperfections in the subject, and that can rub certain people the wrong way. And I'm personally not a big fan of it, but again, if it works for you, excellent. Also, there's visual artificial sharpening in the separation of the subject in portrait mode. The shots from the main camera during the day are overall good. The colors are punchy, there's a good amount of detail in them, and also the high dynamic range is okay. However, there's again artificial sharpening and you can see some digitally improved details in fine areas like grass or any other foliage really. There is some over sharpening in the ultra-wide shots as well. However, these are one of the better ones in this lower mid-range class. The 2x digital shots from the main camera, nothing to write home about. I've seen much better in this class really, and also you can do it 5 and 10 times digitally cropped as well. The night selfies are just like during the day, great detail, great colors, but they are cosmetically touched by Motorola and try to be improved as much as possible, and that can disappoint some people. I still think they're one of the better ones in this lower mid-range class. The night performance from the main and the ultra-wide cameras is quite commendable in this price range. The colors are again good. The color temperature might be a little bit off, but that doesn't matter, it's just a lower mid-range phone after all, it's not a flagship. However, The detail is quite good on both cameras, and I was impressed by the ultra wide as well. And also the sharpness and dynamic range are also pretty good. All in all, I would rate this performance as very good. The 2x shots are barely usable, but then again, if you want to use them, feel free to do so, of course. There's not a lot of sharpness in them, there's a lot of noise, and the color temperature is much higher than it should be to compensate for the lack of detail. The video stabilization on the ultra wide in 4K mode is pretty impressive actually, and it's stable as you can see. I also did the video stabilization from the main camera, again at 4K of course, and I would rate both of them as pretty steady. Now for the quality of those videos, I'm gonna let you be the judge of them. Let's start.
Selfie video at 4K 30 frames per second. .4K 30 frames per second from the ultra wide. .4K 30 frames per second from the main camera. .4K 30 frames per second, 2x digital zoom, crop from the main camera. Too bad it doesn't have a telephoto lens. .4K at 30 frames per second. .4K 30 frames per second, ultra wide. .4K 30 frames per second, main camera. .4K 30 frames per second, 2x digital zoom.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Motorola Edge 60 Fusion. Overall is a very good package for the asking price. The battery life is not as good as I expected it to be. It's got a great screen, great stereo speakers. The camera performance is overall good, not exceptional or anything, but it can do the job. The camera app is a little bit laggy, and also the software is a bit laggy and could be very clunky at times. And the stereo speakers are fantastic, and it's got IP69 rating for water and dust resistance, and this is pretty rare for £299, you know, $299. It's pretty good. Now, is this phone good enough for you? Well, at the end of the day, you decide. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.